One-coat paint for plaster indoors is used on untreated surfaces that are absorbent, such as, for example, on plaster. The plaster must have dried for approximately 3 months and have a neutral pH value before it can be painted on. Note that absorbent surfaces require a lot of linseed oil. The end result is a lasting, beautiful matte finish. Before you begin, make sure that you have everything you need. Linseed oil paint in the colour of your choice. Boiled linseed oil for diluting the paint. An empty pot for mixing the paint in. A stick for stirring the paint. A suitable brush. A cloth for wiping the brush and hands. Soap for washing the brush and hands. Before you begin, we recommend that you first read the application instructions and tips included in our brochure and on our website. Estimated rate of distribution per coat on untreated plaster is 5 to 7 square metres per litre of paint. The drying time of the paint is 1 to 2 days under normal drying conditions. The optimal temperature to apply the paint is between 5 and 25 degrees Celsius. Make sure that you have good ventilation in the room you're painting in, especially for drying purposes. The easiest way to open a paint pot is to place a foot firmly on it and then remove the lid using a putty knife and mallet. An undamaged lid is easy to put on again and will tightly seal the contents. Make a measure from the stick used for stirring. For painting untreated plaster, you need approximately 80% linseed oil paint and 20% boiled linseed oil. Stir the newly opened can so the paint is thoroughly mixed and smooth. Wipe the stick with the brush to avoid any mess. Place the stick into the empty pot and pour in the linseed oil paint up to the first line. Wipe the pot. Then pour in the boiled linseed oil to the next line, and then mix all the ingredients thoroughly so the entire volume is homogeneous. Wipe the stick used for mixing and label the pot so that you know what it contains. It's useful to know what is in the paint store so that you can find the paint the next time you need it. If the paint has been standing a while beforehand, it is recommended to stir it again. Avoid dipping the brush too deeply so that you get too much paint on it, as this can result in it being runny and difficult to achieve a smooth finish. The paintbrush we are using first is a small angled brush for the borders around the ceiling, on joinery and such like. For the large areas we use a large oval brush to be able to apply the paint evenly over a large area. Paint using a criss-cross technique so that the paint fills all the crevices and unevenness of the plaster surface. Then paint wet on wet and avoid going back over what you have already painted. Also avoid taking a break in the middle of a surface so that you do not have to apply a second coat. Otherwise the result will be uneven. Smooth out the newly painted surface with long strokes of the brush. Wipe off the excess paint on a piece of paper or board, then wipe the brush with the cloth. It is important that the cloth is rinsed in water before throwing it away to prevent spontaneous combustion. Wash the brushes in soap and water. It is a good investment to look after your brushes, as a good brush is expensive. A second-hand, well-maintained brush is also better to work with than one that is brand new. If you intend to continue painting in a few days using the same paint, it is not necessary to wash the brushes, but just let them remain in raw linseed oil so that the paint doesn't dry. The leftover paint is best kept by placing a piece of plastic directly over it before putting on the lid. This will then keep the paint fresh and without a skin forming for the next time you're ready to paint. With linseed oil paint, you get a beautiful surface in just one coat that will last for many years. This application is suitable for plaster walls where a matte surface finish is required.